Hey guys, today's video is going to be on how to tell your parents you self-harm and how I told my parents that I self-harmed. A lot of times when you guys either A, email me, B, kick me, Instagram me, tweet me, whatever, you guys initially ask me, what do I do? How do I get help? The first step is telling a parent or guardian or an adult. That's sometimes hard to do. And so I put a video up like this a long time ago on my old channel. It had to be like a year ago. And I took it down because I'm super self-conscious about the way I look or how I sound when I'm doing videos. And I'm really sorry about that. That's why there's a lack of videos lately. It's just because I've been super self-conscious about how I sound, how I look. I make videos and then I delete them because I feel like I either look like trash or I sound like trash or it's stupid and I don't make any sense because I tend to ramble like I'm doing right now. So this is how to tell your parents that you self-harm / my parents' reactions and whatnot. I had to be 10 when I started self-harming, and initial reaction for all parents, including mine, was not good. Definitely wasn't what I wanted or what I was hoping they would be like. They weren't like, hey, it's okay, Belle, like, you're super awesome and like, don't worry about it. We'll just send you to therapy and like, call it a day. It was more like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's what a lot of people's, initial reactions are today. We should be more okay with it, but we're not. So whatever. That's why I make the videos I do, to raise awareness on these certain topics. My parents had no idea what I was doing. Actually, they were pretty scared, and first of all, they denied it. I feel like there are stages that parents go through. The first stage was like kind of denying it altogether, saying that I did it for attention, or it wasn't real, or I was doing it to get out of trouble, and I wasn't really sad, and it was a one-time thing. I don't resent my parents for this. I mean, I expect it. If you have no prior knowledge in this field or area, I feel like, how are you gonna know? Like, there's no way to know my kid's gonna self-harm, and I think every mom or dad or grandma, grandfather, whoever takes care of you would be scared or worried. Telling my parents I self-harm, I didn't directly tell them. I didn't sit down with them and say, hey mom, dad, I want to hurt myself. Although I wish I had. If I could go back and coach myself, I would tell myself, hey, listen, tell your parents, because that's the best way to do it. That's why I support you guys 100% to tell an adult and get help. Because getting help is the first step to recovery, that people don't deserve to go through it alone. You deserve the help that you need. So anyways, I think it was like 6th or 7th grade, the end of 6th grade, I got called to the guidance counselor's office because I had cuts on my arms and someone saw. I don't know how, because I did a really good job. I was very secretive with it. I wasn't out in the open with it. I didn't tell everyone I knew. I was very hush-hush because at the time, I didn't think it was normal. I didn't know why I was doing this. Whatever. I was being bullied at the time, so the kids were kind of teasing me for it, and then it was like brought to an adult's attention, so the guidance counselor had to call me in or whatever, check my arms, and clearly there was cuts there, so they called in my mom, and this is back in 2011. My dad wasn't there. I don't know. I don't think he knew. I think my mom just kept it very hush-hush and didn't want to make a big deal out of it, and was just like, yeah, whatever, just trying to get out of trouble, we'll get over this, whatever, no therapy, no nothing, they didn't put me in anything. I feel like that's a sense of, not understanding plus being scared and in denial. I've seen plenty of parents do that. And people have came to me and said, well, my parents just don't believe me or don't want to believe it. It's not that they don't want to believe it. It's that they don't understand and they don't want it to be true. Because a lot of people are like, not my kid. Because sometimes people or parents feel their own sense of, blame or fault for this, so they try to just deny it and pretend it never happened, which is bad, but I mean, it's understandable. At the time, I was totally distraught. I was like, my parents don't believe me, whatever, but I was happy that she kind of just brushed it under the rug because I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing it. When I continued to cut myself, obviously it became a bigger problem throughout the years. My parents did find me cutting myself. They got really mad. They would punish me, they would scream at me, they would tell me they would kind of call my bluff because they thought that it was to kill myself, I think. Let it be known that you're hurting yourself because you're releasing pain. Sounds crazy, but that's kind of what it is. You can't just say I want to hurt myself because people automatically think you want to kill yourself, and that's totally different. Suicide and cutting, although someone could be suicidal and cut themselves, they're two different things. And if you're suicidal, like, you need a lot more help than just cutting, because cutting is a problem on its own because it's an addiction and it's something to help you make you feel better. So I totally understand why you'd be scared or afraid to tell somebody and to, you know, whatever. I get it because I was there and my parents were not the best. They were not too understanding at first. They thought I wasn't serious and they wanted to scare me out of cutting myself. They called the hospital a couple times, got put in an ambulance into the hospital, tried to scare me out of never doing it again, but parents don't understand that that's not the case. Scaring me isn't gonna make me not want to hurt myself. That's actually kind of silly. So telling your parents that you self-harm, I had to switch, where I was sitting because my feet fell asleep and that really hurt. So, anyways, this is my mom, Jessica. Hi. And, I wrote in the title featuring my mom, and I'm just gonna ask her some questions about how she felt, because I feel like that's a really big part of it too, is how your parents feel, not only you, like, because I feel like they say one thing and then feel another, and a lot of it, like I said before, comes out of being scared or not understanding. So how did you feel when you first found out I cut myself?
Shock.
See, that's what I said before. She was.
My advice as a parent after the fact is tell your parents. And before you tell your parents, if you can, tell a guidance counselor or a therapist, somebody. If you could do that and then have them explain to your parents, you might get a little further, depending on your parents. Some people
are very backwards and don't understand
closed-minded
what it is. And again, if you want to kill yourself, that's something completely different. So what advice would you have for other people? Other parents?
Be patient. Be nice. Understand that your kid's not trying to hurt you or take advantage of you. And if you think that of your child, then you have a bigger problem. Parents have to be patient with their child. You really just have to be on top of your kids. You have to watch their moods. You have to watch what they're doing.
And what advice would you have for kids telling their parents? Or any guardian?
Do it.
I feel like
the scariest thing in the world is when your parents don't know what's going on with you. You know, and if you tell your parents or whoever you're comfortable with, I mean, let's face it, some kids, maybe it's not their parents that they want to tell, but if you have that person that you can talk to, and even if you don't, find one.
If you could go back in time and change the way you reacted to my self-harm, what would you do?
I would know everything and I would handle everything differently. I would be nice and calm and peaceful. I wouldn't say, oh my God! Oh, you didn't know. I was unsure of what everything was completely. Once you started and I was explained about, like, you know, self-harm, at first I didn't know if the problem was more on the suicidal level or if it was on the self-harm level. I think that before I knew anything, I was freaked out. I was afraid. I thought, you know, the same thing. I thought maybe this is for attention, or not for attention, for
affection.
Not affection, for... Yeah, maybe affection, maybe some kind of help, you know, like a cry for help, but in a negative way. Mm-hmm. But I also thought it was more of a phase, like a test thing. I didn't think this was something that was a condition.
That's another thing. Like, a lot of parents,
I thought it was just
that, yeah.
Right, you know, stepping back, looking at my kids, seeing her in pain is not fun, and, you know. And I realized that whatever I was doing wasn't working, so I had to do the next thing. And the only thing you can do is educate yourself on it.
So my biggest piece of advice is to tell your parents yourself.
Absolutely.
If you need help, call a guidance counselor, a doctor, somebody that you could trust.
Anyone that you trust.
I strongly suggest you sit down with your parents. Sit down with your parents yourself, too. You have to be there, because that's a really big part of it, is looking at your parents and saying, hey, Mom, Dad, I need help.
Right. Not every parent's going to understand. They're going to dismiss it. Just know that the first reaction for most parents is going to be dismissal. You don't have a problem. There's nothing wrong. Calm down. Just stop. Don't worry about it. It's normal. Don't give up either by telling them. Don't say, I already tried 3 months ago and, my parents told me it was just a phase. If you're still feeling that way and it's been 3 months, tell them again. You probably should have told them again anyway, but if you're waiting, tell them again.
And that's when you step up and tell a guidance counselor,
right.
Look, my parents aren't doing anything.
They don't understand.
Can you please get me the
right.
help that I need? Because therapy was the best thing for me, best thing for a lot of people that I talked to. I went through it. She went through it.
Therapy's a good thing. I like therapy.
Give
me therapy. I'm a walking travesty.
This was telling your parents you self-harm.
Very important.
Featuring my mom. And I'll see you guys next time. Leave me some comments of what you thought about this video and what videos you want me to do coming up. Thanks for the love and support on my last video and the endless emails and things like that. I read every single one. I'm trying to write back to all of them. Please don't be offended if I don't. I get a lot. But I love each and every one of you. Thank you for supporting me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Be well!